Men are direct, women are indirect. If a man and a woman are driving down the street and the woman is thirsty, she might say, as they pass a McDonald's, she might say, "Honey, are you thirsty?" And he'll say, "Nope," and keep on driving. What she was trying to say was that she was thirsty, why don't they stop? Now, the man, on the other hand, if he saw the McDonald's and was thirsty, he said, "I'm thirsty, let's stop." So women tend to be indirect, and they get really angry when men don't understand what they were trying to say. So one of the best things that you can do in communications is be a little bit more direct. Be a little bit more clear, a little bit more specific. Now, an important point with regard to men. According to a recent survey, a recent study, it shows that men are 95% more likely to interrupt a woman in a conversation than a woman is likely to interrupt a man. And one of the best things that you can do in a relationship, you men out there, is take time to listen to your spouses. Ask her how her day has been. Ask her how her day has unfolded. What has happened to her? How are things going with her?
Sound familiar? That McDonald's scenario happens every single day. In bedrooms, boardrooms, text messages. We hint. We dance around the point. We say everything except what we actually mean. And then we wonder why nobody gets us. Your boss asks if you're busy this weekend. Translation, you're working Saturday. Your friend says we should hang out soon. Spoiler alert, they won't call. We've mastered the art of saying nothing while saying everything. Think about your last argument. Bet it wasn't really about the dishes, or being late, or whose turn it was to take out the trash. It was about something deeper, something nobody actually said out loud. We imply. We drop breadcrumbs and pray someone follows the trail. But what if I told you this isn't just about men and women? What if the real problem is that we've all forgotten how to say what we actually mean? There's a hidden epidemic destroying communication everywhere. We're all speaking in riddles when the answer is right in front of us. One simple shift could save your relationships before it's too late. Because the truth is brutal. If you can't say what you mean, you'll never mean what you say. Ever wonder why a 3-year-old can ask for exactly what they want, but adults turn into cryptic puzzle masters? Here's the brutal truth. We weren't born speaking in code. Somewhere along the way, we learned that being direct was dangerous. Think about it. You're 5 years old. You tell your mom you hate your little brother. Suddenly you're in timeout learning about nice words. You tell your teacher the math homework is stupid. Phone call home. Message received, saying what you really think gets you in trouble. So your brain does what brains do best. It adapts. It creates workarounds. Instead of, "I need help," you say, "This is really hard." Instead of, "I disagree," you say, "That's interesting." Instead of, "I'm hurt," you go silent. Your subconscious becomes a master translator, turning every honest thought into something safer, something more palatable, something that won't get you rejected or punished. Whenever you're about to say something real, your amygdala, that ancient alarm system, starts screaming. It remembers every time honesty got you burned, every rejection, every conflict, every time someone walked away. So it hijacks your mouth, forces you to say the safe thing instead of the true thing. This creates what psychologists call emotional labor debt. Every time you swallow your real thoughts, your brain has to work overtime. It's constantly calculating what's safe to say, what will keep people happy, what won't rock the boat. That mental gymnastics is exhausting. It's why you feel drained after conversations where you never said what you actually meant. But it gets worse. Your brain starts building elaborate defense mechanisms. You become a master of subtext. You expect others to read between your lines. When they don't, you feel invisible, misunderstood. The cruel irony? The very thing you're doing to avoid rejection, speaking in code, is precisely what's driving people away. They can't connect with someone who's never truly present. They can't love someone they can't see. Your brain thinks it's protecting you, but it's actually building walls around the very thing you're trying to protect. Your heart races. Your palms sweat, all because someone might disagree with you. You'd rather suffer in silence than risk a 5-minute uncomfortable conversation. Think about your last relationship that slowly died. Bet it wasn't one big blow-up. It was death by 1,000 tiny surrenders. Every time you chose peace over truth. Every time you said, fine, when you meant, this is killing me. Your brain refused to accept that avoiding one difficult conversation creates 10 harder ones later. Conflict isn't your enemy, but unresolved tension is. Every time you bite your tongue to avoid confrontation, you're not preventing conflict. You're just postponing it. And that unexpressed frustration doesn't disappear. It ferments. It builds pressure until one day it explodes over something completely unrelated. The rejection part is even more twisted. Oh, you re so busy trying to be likable that you become forgettable. You agree when you should debate. You smile when you should frown. You become this pleasant, harmless person that nobody really knows. The people who matter want to see you fight for something. They want to know where you stand. They want friction because friction creates heat, and heat creates connection. You're so terrified of someone not liking what you say that you never give them the chance to like who you actually are. You're rejecting yourself preemptively. Your brain whispers, if they knew what I really thought, they'd leave. So you hide. You perform. You become a watered-down version of yourself. Your fear of losing people is the exact reason you're losing them. Boys don't cry. Girls don't yell. Welcome to the communication prison built before you could even walk. You learn the rules early. If you're a woman, directness makes you bossy. So you learn to ask questions instead of making statements. Don't you think we should? Instead of we need to do this. You turned yourself into a suggestion box when you should have been a megaphone. The price? You apologize before every opinion. You soften every request. You say sorry for existing in meetings. Your ideas get stolen because you presented them like suggestions, not facts. If you're a man, emotions make you weak. So you learn to grunt instead of explain, to fix instead of feel. Someone says they're upset, and you immediately start problem solving instead of just listening. You became a walking toolkit when sometimes people just need a human. Your emotional vocabulary got stunted at age 12. Happy, mad, fine. That's it. Everything else gets shoved into anger because that's the only feeling you're allowed to have. Different cultures, same prison. In some families, challenging authority is disrespect. In others, showing vulnerability is shameful. Your grandmother's voice still echoes. What will people think? Your father's lessons still sting. Toughen up. Asian cultures teach harmony over honesty. Latin cultures value family peace over individual truth. Western cultures worship politeness over authenticity. Everyone gets a different cage, but it's still a cage. So women become emotional contortionists, twisting their needs into gentle suggestions. Men become emotional robots, converting every feeling into action or anger. The result? Women feel unheard even when they're talking. Men feel misunderstood even when they're helping. You're both speaking languages you were forced to learn. Languages designed to keep you small, pleasant, and predictable. But here's the plot twist. Those rules were written by people who are probably dead now, and you're still following their script. Plot twist. Your indirect communication isn't always the villain. Sometimes that subtle approach you've been beating yourself up for, it's actually genius-level emotional intelligence in disguise. Think about it. When your friend shows up looking like they haven't slept in days, you don't say, "You look terrible." You say, "Rough week." You're reading the room. You're giving them space to share or deflect. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. You're like a social surgeon, making precise cuts that heal instead of harm. Indirect communication can be a gift. It lets people save face. It gives them an out. When you ask, "Are you hungry?" instead of, "I'm starving, let's eat," you're actually being considerate. You're not steamrolling someone else's needs with your own. Some cultures have turned this into an art form. Japanese culture has dozens of ways to say no without actually saying it. It's not dysfunction, it's sophistication. It preserves dignity, maintains harmony, keeps relationships intact for generations. Even in business, the indirect players often win. They're the ones who plant seeds instead of demanding immediate harvests. They influence without intimidating. They get buy-in because people think the good ideas were their own. But here's where it gets really interesting. The same skill that makes you a terrible communicator with your spouse makes you brilliant at reading people. You can walk into a room and instantly sense who's angry, who's hurt, who's pretending to be fine. You're fluent in the language everyone speaks, but nobody admits exists. Your superpower is seeing what others miss. The micro-expressions, the loaded silences, the energy shifts when certain topics come up. The problem isn't that you communicate indirectly. The problem is you do it everywhere, with everyone, all the time. You're using the same gentle touch to handle a crying child and a business negotiation. You're using a scalpel when you need a hammer, and a hammer when you need a scalpel. Mastery isn't choosing direct or indirect. It's knowing when each one serves you. When subtlety saves relationships. When directness saves time. When reading between the lines matters more than the lines themselves. The goal isn't to kill your indirect side. It's to make it intentional instead of automatic. Enough theory. Time for the tools that actually work. But first, let's kill the biggest myth. Being direct doesn't mean being a human wrecking ball. You think honesty has to hurt. That truth requires brutality. That's like thinking surgery requires a chainsaw instead of a scalpel. The foundation of effective directness starts with understanding that your message and your delivery are two separate things. Your words carry the truth. Your tone carries the relationship. Master this separation and you master communication itself. Attack the behavior, not the person. Your brain wants to say, "You always interrupt me." But your mouth should say, "I lose my train of thought when we talk over each other." Same truth. Zero personal attack. Before any difficult conversation, clarify your intent. Are you seeking understanding? Requesting change? Sharing information? Your purpose shapes every word that follows. Without clear intent, even the gentlest words can cause damage. Now here's where most people mess up. They use the same communication style for every situation. Low stakes, stay soft. Want to grab coffee sometime? Works fine. High stakes, get direct. We need to talk about our relationship cuts through weeks of dancing around the issue. Low stakes conversations can afford softer approaches. High stakes conversations demand clarity. If avoiding the conversation costs more than having it, directness becomes non-negotiable. Start building your directness muscles in safe spaces. Practice on people who don't matter first. Tell the barista your order is wrong. Ask the server to turn down the music. These strangers don't care about your feelings, so there's no relationship to ruin. For bigger conversations, master the context truth intention formula. Start with why this matters, deliver your honest message, and with your goal. Context first. I care about our friendship. Truth second. I felt dismissed when you canceled again. Purpose last. I'm bringing this up because I want to fix it. This structure creates safety while ensuring your message lands. Eliminate permission-seeking language from your vocabulary. Stop apologizing for having needs or opinions. Every time you say, "if it's okay with you," or "this might be stupid," but you're teaching people that your thoughts don't deserve full respect. Learn to embrace strategic silence. When someone asks your opinion, resist the urge to fill the pause with what they want to hear. Those 3 seconds of discomfort are where authenticity lives. Let yourself feel what's true before speaking. Practice the no method. Don't just reject things, explain your reasoning. No, because I'm already overcommit this month. It's not rude, it's information. People can work with information. Transform rejections into information exchanges. Instead of bare no responses, provide context. People can work with information, even when they can't have what they want. This approach maintains relationships while maintaining boundaries. Develop the skill of perspective ownership. Rather than attacking positions, share your viewpoint. This subtle shift moves conversations from battlegrounds to meeting places where different truths can coexist. Instead of "that's wrong," try "here's how I see it differently." Instead of "you don't understand," try "let me explain my perspective." Same correction, softer landing. Practice clean communication by eliminating both excessive cushioning and unnecessary sharpness. Your goal is surgical precision, removing what doesn't serve while preserving what does. Set communication boundaries proactively. Tell people how you operate before conflicts arise. This prevents misunderstandings and creates a framework for productive disagreement. Finally, replace vague hints with specific requests. Your relationships are not guessing games. Clear asks create clear outcomes and eliminate the exhausting cycle of disappointment and confusion. Remember, your relationships can handle more honesty than you think. They're probably dying for it. Real connection happens when performed politeness gives way to authentic presence. Here's what happens when you start saying what you really mean. At first, it feels terrifying. Your heart pounds. Your voice shakes. You brace for the explosion that never comes. Instead, something unexpected happens. People lean in. They thank you for your honesty. They start being real with you too. The friend who's been fake smiling through everything finally tells you what's been bothering her. The partner who's been walking on eggshells starts sharing their actual thoughts. The coworker who's been passive-aggressive becomes your strongest ally. Your relationships don't break from honesty. They break from the weight of everything you never said. You realize you've been protecting people from truths they were strong enough to handle. You've been solving problems that didn't exist while ignoring the ones that did. The McDonald's scenario doesn't happen anymore. When you're thirsty, you say you're thirsty. When you need space, you ask for space. When something bothers you, you address it before it festers. Your communication becomes clean. Your relationships become real. Your life becomes yours. Because here's the final truth. The people who can't handle your authentic voice aren't your people. And the ones who can, they've been waiting for the real you to show up. Stop speaking in code. Stop performing politeness. Stop protecting everyone from who you actually are. The world doesn't need another pleasant stranger. It needs you, the real you. Messy, honest, direct, and beautifully human. Say what you mean what you say. Watch everything change.